You're listening to the Chronicles of Living podcast, where we talk to everyday people about everyday things in the past, present, and future. Now let's talk.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop on the road of life. You can't stop. You can't stop moving. Keep move. Keep that pace. You switching to gear. Let's go as we climb up the hill. Don't slow down. Pedal a little more. The mind is working. It's in control. Your wheels are turning a little more. Going higher another notch. Keep it steady. Don't watch the clock go round. Cycle.
Greetings, my visionary dreamers. How is everybody doing on You Can Do It Wednesday? This is adionne-your-dream-pusher. Now listen up to Torelli and the Fuse.
We are learning, always turning. Later, cannot stop the time. Always merging into lanes that better suit us as we ride. Switch it up. Switching to gear, let's go. As we climb up the hill, don't slow down. Pedal a little more. The mind is working, it's in control. Your wheels are turning a little more. Going higher another notch. Keep it steady, don't watch the clock go round.
As I said, this is Adionne, your dream pusher, your lifeguard, saving you from yourself, the world, some real bullshit. And this is Chronicles-of-Livin-podcast show, the show for everyday people doing everyday things, living everyday life. You know, us extraordinary folk doing a damn thing the best way we can. And today's topic is, has moving through life made you better or worse? Has moving through life made you better or worse? I mean, let's think about that for a moment. As some would say, let's ponder on that for a moment. Man, if you read the description, the summary that I wrote, then you will know that I have moved. I finally sat down and added up the number, and it's unbelievable. A total of 51 times throughout my life, and I'm only 48 years old. Now, this is ever since I could remember from my childhood, okay? So, just to break up the numbers for you, I will say, from my childhood, what I could remember is 7 times. Now, that is back and forth to my grandparents' house. Within that 7 times is included, you know. But most of my childhood, I lived, you know, me and my mother lived with my grandparents and, you know, my cousins, which was fun. And then as my last year of high school came along, that went my journey of pretty much living on my own or living with other people and things of that nature. And that totaled up to 18 times. Now, since my son was born, and he's 20 right now, we have moved a total of 26 times. Now, he's been in college these last couple years, but you know, I know you're wondering, like, how could you move that many times? Well, I actually added up times where we might have lived somewhere for maybe a month or 3 months just to get my footing back together. But nevertheless, it still was a move, because within that time I might have put some stuff in storage and still physically moved, or either I just pretty much got rid of all the furniture and started all over. I'm really good for that. I'm not attached to things, which is a good thing, you know. Now, some might think, oh, that's horrible. Oh, you know, and the reason why I made this topic is because after I added all the moves up, and I actually did it because of something that I'm working on that I will release to you guys really soon. But I needed to really sit down and get the true number. Now, it might be 52 times. I might have left out something, but nevertheless, that is a huge number. And so I brought my son in and I asked him, I said, look at this. This is how many times we've moved, I've moved. And the crazy part about it is that I actually remembered each, I'm not going to say the address, the number of the address, but I say the street name, you know, the county, things of that nature. And I wrote in parentheses the reason for the move, or the reason why I wind up, or in the case of me and my son, and the case of why we wind up moving, I wrote little notations by each move. So it's amazing to me that I actually remember. And, you know, we were having a conversation about it, and I asked him, I said, you know, how does this make you feel? You know, what, you know, so he said to me, well, Mom, we're not the only ones that go through this. There are a lot of people that even now go through moving a lot. I said, but come on. I don't think there's too many people that have moved 51 times in their life. Now, he didn't move 51 times, but, you know, for him, 26 is more than his age, you know. But it was interesting to me to see just how he answered the question. You know, in my mind, I'm thinking as a parent, like, oh, wow, you know, I wasn't such a great mom. I was unstable, as everyone, you know, called me as I was raising him, that I was unstable. I had somebody call me a bad mom one time. And then, you know, that person met my son and he was floored. He was like, oh my gosh, you did such a good job. He's such a likable kid. Like, how can anybody, like, he's so well-mannered and he's so smart, and, oh, but I'm a bad mom because I moved around a lot. What is the definition of a bad mom? So what my son said was this, you know, some of the things that he said. He said, well, Mom, I had a good childhood. It was very entertaining. I never was bored, you know. And I said, well, do you feel like, because you can't really say too much of, oh, I grew up in this neighborhood. I mean, he remembers certain neighborhoods, and he told me like certain neighborhoods that we lived in was really fun for him. He could remember the things that he did with the kids and some of the kids and stuff like that. But he was more of an introvert as he was growing up. It wasn't until later on that he became an extrovert, you know. But he just said, like, I mean, he looked at the fact that we looked at the fact that he always had his own room. Everywhere we moved, I never had my own room. Now, granted, I love my mom, and she was a great mom, while I was young and growing up, and she was there, and she, was very entertaining, took time out, played games and all of this stuff, and we went places and stuff like that. But, I shared the room with my cousin, which was fun. And the difference is, I can say that, I have a neighborhood that I grew up in because my mom and I were at my grandparents' for a majority of my school years. So, I lived in an urban part of the city, which, on some days it could have been rough. I had my share of fights and stuff like that, but nevertheless, we had fun. We had fun growing up. And then as I, got into my teenage states, I just pretty much went on my own. It wasn't that my mom didn't want me to come or whatever like that, but I just didn't like her man. I mean, real talk. I didn't like her man. So I decided that I wanted to do me. And in doing me is where the journey started of me moving around a lot, And sometimes, like, I have a huge family. And people might think, oh, wow, you didn't have a family. No, I had family. But I just always was just independent. Always pretty much from a youngin' wanted to do things pretty much my way. I was bossy, but it was good. I've always been like a leader and a trendsetter. So I believe that is why I wanted to go and venture out into the world and on my own. Was it hard? Yes, it was. But nevertheless, when I say and I ask you the question, has moving through life made you better or worse? I can honestly say it has made me better. I examined each time I moved, and I looked at the things that I've learned, and through all of those moves, like I went to the hairdresser today, and she was asking me, I was talking about different things that I do and I'm involved in. She was like, wow, you do a lot. Like, how do you know how to do so much? And I was just telling her, it's just life experiences. And I moved around a lot. And with those moves came new jobs. And with the moves, and because I was a single mom, I always worked more than one job. And I always worked on my dreams, my visions, and my goals in the process of working the jobs. So I was always learning new things because of the fact that I had these big dreams and I had these talents that just would come out of nowhere. And I'm like, wow, okay, I know how to do this too. Wow, let me learn more about this. Let me see how I could push my limits with this. Is this something that I can make money from? So I would try different things. I, would go to different seminars and all of these things because as I was moving and being a single mom, my goal was always to make life better for my son and I, And this is why my journey was what it was. I think about this podcast show and people always say to me, how do you just come up with these topics? And it's always something different that you're talking about. I mean, it's still within the same realm of the purpose of the show. But nevertheless, the topics, I never really lose any words to say because of my journey. And I truly believe that we all need to start looking at the way our life has moved and look at where we are right now in this moment in life. Look at what has brought us to this moment. Look at your cycle. Look at, the things that you have been repeating that's not working. And then look at the things that you repeat that seems to work. And start really being honest with yourself and learning how to, and taking, let's say, and being disciplined and cutting out the things that's not working for you. And that is where it gets hard. A lot of people don't want to be honest with themselves. They don't want to look at their life and just say, man, in this area, I need to do better. In this area, I need to do more of this because this is what's making me a better person, you know? Like, through my moves, one thing that I do, or let's say I do not, is I don't burn bridges. You know, I've had many jobs, I've started many careers, and I could honestly say I can go back to any one of those jobs I've ever worked if I needed to. Perfect example. If you've been listening, you know that I have left, the retreat center, the yoga retreat center that I was living at and working for. I found my Zen. I found me and who I am and my purpose. And, I'm moving forward. And even with that, as I was leaving, they all were like, come back anytime. You and your son can come back anytime. And, definitely check up on us. And it felt good to know that I was leaving this place that has helped me in so many ways. Just the place, just the space, the environment, the people, the interaction with the people, even though in their eyes it was limited because I was to myself a lot. But it really helped me to find me again, through that short span of time. And that was 7 months, But I gained so much in actually learning why I moved so much, learning the things, the blockages in my life, And so when the opportunity came to move to where I'm at now, the deep thing is this. The opportunity, presented itself, and they asked me where I wanted to live. And I said, okay, I'm going to go back to a place that I know. And where I live at now is an apartment complex that I used to manage some years ago. And this is what I'm saying about I don't burn my bridges, because I want to know that if I ever needed a person or needed a place to go or whatever, I have options, As a matter of fact, the new property manager, I trained her. So it was like a no-brainer, you know what I mean? I checked to see if she was still here. And the thing is, this is how I roll. I left. She came in, in my position. And then the person that was working with me as a property manager, I was the sales manager. She left the same week I left because she couldn't deal with it after I left. She couldn't deal with the workload. And she pretty much left this person like clueless. So I called her up and I said, listen, I'm going to come in on a weekend and I'll train you. I didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? I was done. I was done with the job. I was moved on, moved to a whole nother place. I was working for, at that time, New York Life. I didn't have to do that. But I felt like, dang, this person seems like a nice person. And plus, I always look at things like, if it was me, if that was me coming into a new job, you know what I mean? And somebody just left me, everybody just left, no training, how would I feel? You know what I mean? And that's the attitude that I have with people, with life. And so when I can lend my knowledge to someone to help them out, I will do it. And so because I did that, and that was like, I think maybe 3 years ago. And because I did that, when I walked in the door and I was like, you remember me? She was like, what, girl, please? Yeah, I remember you. You saved me and this and that and the other. And bam, got in no problems, These are the things as I move through life and I realized like while I might have made some bad decisions, I made some good ones too, and I left a lot of good karma along my trail, that is the reason why I was able to, through all these moves, live in decent places and have decent surroundings and meet good people because of the karma that I've put out along my moves, I don't think that, we look at life like that. I think that sometimes even my relationships, I can honestly say that people I've dated in the past, they still call me and check up on me. You know what I mean? Check up on, ask how my son is doing, because I don't leave stuff sloppy. I don't leave stuff messy. While people might think I'm all over the place, in reality, I'm more stable than some people that's been in the same place for years. And that's a deep thing, when you can actually look at some people's lives and they've been in the same place for years, but yet they might be more unstable than me. Now, that's not me, thinking I'm better. I've been unstable in my mindset quite a few times. But when I look at my life now, I'm willing to acknowledge when things are not stable. I'm willing to acknowledge that I need to change certain things about me, certain things about my life as I'm moving through life. And there is the problem. A lot of times as individuals, we are in denial. We don't want to face ourselves. We don't want to face the fact that we need change internally. No matter where you move moving with you. That's the bottom line. So even though I moved 51 times in my life, me as an individual, as a spirit, as a soul, was still moving with me. And if I didn't make little changes throughout my move, I wouldn't be who I am today. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be sane. I don't think that the average person moving 51 times is in their right mind. But for some reason, God just had his hand of grace on me and allowed me to move in peace. Sometimes it was chaotic, but at the end of the day, when I look at each move, they all had a purpose. They all had a purpose for me, for my son, for, in some cases, when my daughter came live with me, my stepson, helping him out every now and then. Like, they all had a purpose. The foster kids that I had, the exchange student that I let live with me, the different people that I let live with me throughout my life, they all, every move had a purpose, and while you might not think, if you're moving through life, and I don't mean it always have to be physically. Sometimes it can be you staying right in the same place, but your moves are your relationships, different relationships moving in and out of your life. Are you learning from those relationships? Because trust me, I have learned from each relationship that I was involved in, rather it be friendship or rather it be with a spouse, an intimate relationship. I've learned that about myself is that my ambition and my drive, my passion for life was just too much. It was just too much for the dudes to handle. They couldn't step up to the plate because it was just like, woo, she is just work. Like, I get it. So my thing is, I can't penalize them for that. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit special And it's okay. And when the time comes, God will bring me that special person that can handle me and won't look at it as a work. Instead, they will be excited about me. They will be excited about the adventurous life that we're going to have together, because I am an adventurous person. You know, I look forward to moving and meeting new people and seeing new things. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say that I was excited about every move. No, I was not. But once I got into the new space, it was just like, you know what? I like this. I like it here. You know, what are we going to do in this space? What are we going to learn about this area? What places are we going to go and explore, you know? And from all of that, has made my son so well-rounded. Not just my son, but me too, because I grew up in an area where pretty much people didn't really do much but stay in the neighborhood. They didn't really venture out too much, you know, outside of the comfort zone. So for me, it was a blessing that I was able to move around as much as I did, you know? And just the fact that me and my son was talking about how, you know, I look at the fact I've been here for now just a little over a month. But if anybody was to come in our place, they'd be like, hold up, no. Y'all was not here for just a month, because everywhere I move within that month, or sometimes within that week, my place is fully furnished. Fully. And I look at things like that, you know, like the fact that God has created me to be this humble human being, this, I can appreciate things, you know. I can appreciate if my budget is, okay, I'm going to go get some secondhand furniture, or I'm going to get some new furniture, or I'm going to mix it up. Either way it go, I appreciate it. You know, I love the fact that my pride is gone. You know, I don't have an ego. I'm not a prideful person. I'm not, you know, ashamed if I need help and I need to go to a pantry, a food pantry, or if I need to I'm not that person. And I believe that because I'm not that person, and I don't let things and people identify my happiness or identify my status. I truly believe that's why I'm so happy. I truly believe that that's why I'm so youthful. I don't let attachments and things stress me out, the loss of them, you know. Man, if I just added up 51 moves, y'all, if I added up all the furniture I gave away, all the things I gave away, all the different cars I switched, and oh my gosh, and I was able to just sell that stuff, I would be so rich. But this is the thing that we have to learn in life. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine last night, and we were talking about how, you know, the things that I went through in life, things she went through in life, things a couple of our friends went through in life. And, you know, when I broke up with my son's father and I let go of everything and I moved, I made the decision to move. I made the decision to leave the properties and to my house and all this stuff and start from scratch. I made the decision that what everybody else thought was such a perfect life, because they was looking on the outside and looking at the things that we acquired, that it was perfect. I made the decision that my happiness was more important. And I took, I would say, I stepped backwards to go forward. I left my job, a good paying job. Left my job. I moved back with my mom. actually got on welfare. It's so many things that I did that was a huge step backwards to many. But for me at that point, because of my happiness, regaining my happiness, it was a huge step forward for me. Because at the end of the day, I had my happiness back, And this is where people get it mixed up. People think that things are going to make you happy. You can have everything in this world. If you had a genie right now that said, make a wish, you can have anything you want. And you say, I want a lot of money, and I want the flyest car, I want the flyest house, I want the best looking man, woman, whatever. At the end of the day, when you lose it all, or if you lose it all, that's tied to your happiness, then that means you lost your happiness. And I know I had a show not too far back called What Is It Going to Take for You to Be Happy? And I guess maybe, I'm talking about this again because when people that know me look at my life, I think it confuses them that I'm always upbeat no matter what. And they take what I've been through, they downplay it a lot. They can talk about what they're going through and come off like it's the end of the world. And then soon as I say, well, I went through that, but it ain't the same. Why is it not the same? You kind of been in a stable position pretty much almost all your life. And I've been moving around as a single mom, caring for my son by myself with the help of my mom whenever she could throughout his whole life. How is your mishaps or your journey darker than mine? You know what I mean? Like, people don't realize, like, hey, Tanya, how are you? Thanks for listening. That's my girl. That's my ace boom coon, as they say. But, I'm always just baffled at the fact that people really look at my life, even though they know how many times I moved, all the things that I went through, the mishaps, but they look at my life as, oh, girl, please, that's what you do. That's, it's easy for you. No, it's not. It's just that I choose to look at life and use the moves as improvement, as gaining more wisdom, as, investigating more of who I am and why do I do the things I do, and why is it that I might trust a certain person, or I looked at a certain opportunity as a good opportunity to make a move. Because most of my moves was just for that. It was for opportunities or trusting in a person that, okay, yeah, we're going to do this business together, or we're going to do this thing together, or even if it was a relationship, because I lived out of state a lot, believing in the relationship to make the moves, and each time people didn't pull their end of the weight. And there I was. And so my son was telling me, I asked him, I said, so what do you think? What do you think about me as a mother, as a person, and us moving that many times? And what he said was, I think you did your job. You did your job, Mom. You always did your job. And that meant so much to me. He was like, I never felt like, basically, he said my childhood was good. And he shared with me about one of his friends that has a double parent home, been in the same home pretty much all his life, that's his age, and didn't even have half of the entertainment that he had, you know? Never played a video game, didn't have cable, all of this stuff. And I was like, really? Wow, you know? And then he started reflecting on other friends that grew up in the same house and, you know, how they are and, you know, what they experienced versus what he has experienced. And he realizes how much it has helped him with life and understanding life and made him such a strong individual and an independent individual, you know? So at the end of the day, even though I've had many moves, I was a stable mom. A lot of people can't say that. A lot of people can't say they're a stable parent, and that's not me trying to make anybody feel bad. But my thing is, we all have our strengths, you know? So when life makes you feel some type of way about yourself, in other words, I shared with my son today that I believe before I went to the retreat center and I learned more about me and I learned how to go inward and find out the trueness of my being, I allowed certain people to make me feel less because of the fact that we moved around a lot. Because of the fact that, you know, I didn't finish my college degree or, you know, things of that nature. I allowed certain people, certain close people, you know, to make me feel less than, to make me feel like there was something wrong with me. But then when I went to the retreat center, I realized, no, there's nothing wrong with me. And then I started looking at those certain people and I'm like, hey, their life ain't perfect and they are not that happy with their life. I'm happy with me. I'm a happy person. And what I do is I spread love and joy and affection to everybody I come across. I can have one of the worst days and I can see somebody walking and looking down and I will spring into action into my little happy self and make sure that I put a smile on their face before I leave them. I'm like, where did my spirit come from? You know, I just learned that through moving in life, you have to figure out how to enjoy every moment, how to take those moments that's not so enjoyable and look at it as a lesson. Look at it as something that you can grow from, you know? Maybe you don't need to have whatever that type of situation, or maybe you need to change jobs. Maybe you need to let go of a relationship, let go of a connection, you know? Maybe you just need to try new things. Maybe you need to figure out how is it that you can get to learning how to love you, learning how to grow. What is it that you're missing in growing? You know, my hairdresser, she was young and we talked about relationships and she was like, you're God sent, because I'm sitting up there telling her about, you know, how she needs to learn how to honor herself and value herself. And she's like, you know, I just always think that is the right one and then it's some type of game. And I said, when you learn who you are, you learn to value yourself, you learn to honor yourself, you'll be able to see. You'll be able to see through that person. And I give each person a chance, whether it be friendship, whether it be relationship. I give them a chance. I give them a chance to catch up with the talk that they've been talking. But after a while, if the talk is just talk and there's no action, then I know to keep it moving. I know to just move on. And I know that, okay, that was just somebody that came across my path that I was meant to meet for a certain reason. Maybe they got something out of our conversation or, you know, whatever. But I never look at life as a void. I never look at even the relationships that wasn't so great. I never look at that as a waste of time. I used to, but I don't anymore. Because that taught me what is it that I want out of life. It taught me what my expectations are and what I'm going to settle for and what I'm not going to settle for. One thing for sure, I'm never going to settle for anything less than what I know I deserve. I'm a valuable person. I'm more than enough. And I honor me. And therefore, whoever comes across my path throughout moving through life need to have the same respect that I have for myself. So, through your moves through life, the main thing I want you to get out of it is this. Everything is for a reason. Every person that comes across your path that you meet is for a reason. It is not by accident. But you have to decide just how close you want to get to that person, just how much you want that person to have whatever attachment to your life. And if you don't feel good inside, but you continue to have an attachment to that person or to that thing, you're doing yourself a disservice. And you need to realize that your moves through life should be for growth and to better yourself. And you need to shed all the things that don't make you feel good. Shed it, There's a way you have to work on it, but work on it to figure out what is it that's going to make you better as you move through life instead of worse. If you feel like right now you're worse, then you need to take some time out for you and figure out what is it that can make you be better. So that's my time today. Nevertheless, I just want y'all to know to appreciate yourself, appreciate what you've been through and know that yes, there are other people that might be going through the same thing, but everybody has their own way to deal with life. And you need to decide how is it that you want to deal with it. Don't go by everybody else's judgment, thoughts. Do what feels good to you. And that's all that matters. Do what feels good to you. That's how you become a happy person. Do what feels good to you. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed the show today. I love you all. Thanks for your support. Continue to share the podcast show. Continue to follow, like, whatever, from whatever platform that you're listening to. I thank you, universe, because I see that you are listening from all over the world. And my goal is always to touch your hearts and inspire you, encourage you, motivate you to strive to become a better individual. And my life journey, my moves, my many jobs, my many occupations, my many environments and people and situations, obstacles and struggles is why I can do this show today. This is my purpose in life, and I will continue to do it as long as God allows me to. So until Sunday, I'll see you guys then, or I'll talk to you guys then. This is Adionne, your lifeguard, your dream pusher, saving you from yourself, from the world, from some real bullshit. And this is Chronicles-of-Livin-podcast show, the show for everyday people doing everyday things, living everyday life. You know us extraordinary folk, doing the damn thing the best way we can. I love, love, love you guys. I'll talk to y'all on Sunday. Peace. Thank you for listening to Chronicles of Living, where we talk to everyday people about everyday things in the past, present, and future. And if you are pursuing your dreams, I'm proud of you. Because the best part of life is when you decide to live. To keep up with us, please visit chronicles-of-livin-podcast. Until next time, this is Adionne, your dream pusher. I love you guys.